commission.
When she was doing a lot of adjustment on her
All
she
the
had
applicants are now know.
and,
Do
they?
and asked permission.
Okay.
All that's been changed since then.
Yeah, we just did quick claim deeds and then just gave, added to the description of the property. I did 3 of them. Because I sold the corral, my leach line,
So-
and my parents had traded 10 feet.
Hey,
So my building was.
Ben just mentioned that the applicants have already been informed, so you can make it a quick formality. We're just taking it off the agenda. You know, we don't have to even talk about it.
Yeah, I've been reading all the emails.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I finally could get back to my computer. So how's the dog business? I said
We're doing okay. Hey, how's it going, man? Good to see you. Right on.
hi, Bob, how you doing?
Can you hand me this? Can you hand me this one, Shannon?
I'll be not good. I'll be my belly.
Yeah, careful. Can you hand me that box of wipes right there? It's disinfecting wipe, that
Do you want
Clorox.
to turn it on?
No, I want you to hand me that box of Clorox.
Hand you the what?
Hand that to me. Thank
Sure.
you.
I always bring them.
Oh, these are yours?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I Clorox, yours. I did the whole time.
If I get this close to you, am I making you?
There you go.
No, not at all.
Okay, so, I told him I asked him, why are we doing this same thing again? He said that
Yes.
they messed up on the numbers. So we're starting all over on spend level.
Well, we'll do it very quickly and just. What is Shannon do at?
Are we already recording or do we have to hit a button over
We
here?
are recording
Okay.
YouTube, Zoom, not.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the Planning Commission meeting for September 9th, 2020. Could we stand and say the pledge, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our roll call, please.
Alan Angel here.
Janet Prentice here.
When Jordan from here?
Lee Freilich here.
Thank you. Jerry is excused. He's out of town. Can I get a motion? Do we have any conflicts of interest amongst us? No? No, okay. Can I get a motion to accept the minutes for A, B, C, and D?
May I make a
Consent motion.
correction? On the minutes for May 3rd on page 3.
January 8th, May 13th, May 27th, and June 10th of 2020.
I'm just talking about May 13th minutes
Okay,
on page 3, the middle of the page. That
okay,
hanging P should be at PC. It should go to the planning commission.
okay.
And there was one other- Okay. Dot. And I'm not sure what
So incomplete there.
that.
So I would recommend in that case to omit the June 10th minutes from the motion to approve the consent agenda. We can address that in the next.
And we can go back, okay.
Yeah. That is obviously a draft of complete draft that was missed in
Okay.
submission.
Wait.
Now,
Wait, you might have an old packet. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what happened. Look
Look at your,
refer to the new
Look at your
packet,
new
see how-
packet,
Yeah.
because I can't find those
Oh,
same
okay.
errors.
I just picked those up today. Boy, you guys look fast.
Well,
there've been 2 versions of the agenda, so you might have an older
Okay.
original version. Do you see
Yeah.
that typo on this
No, I don't.
one?
Alan Safety, okay, I've got it. Okay.
And the original, the first one you saw that said PP versus, is that there? Which,
I don't find
That
that.
was April, or excuse me, May 13th. So he's probably already corrected that one too.
okay,
Oh, no, that one still needs to be corrected.
May 13th.
The hanging bee still needs to be.
Uh-huh.
corrected?
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
we can,
2020, and June 10, 2020.
can I get a second, please?
Second.
Vote.
Aye.
Aye.
aye,
Start it again.
Thank you. Now we're gonna go through this really fast as we've done this before. Is Susan Spindler here? Jeff Spindler? First of all, I want to ask you to forgive us for having to go through this again. Okay, well, let's get the. Close the public hearing and then open a public hearing for
If we
zone
could,
change.
Just wait to,
Paul Edwards.
are we having some
well.
Zoom issues?
We only have one participant, so.
Camera's not working. Some reason.
Hey, Paul, are you able to confirm that you can at least hear us?
I can hear you intermittently.
Yeah, I've been switching it off and on, so that makes sense. You're the only participant over Zoom, so if you have any comments, feel free to unmute yourself and make them when appropriate.
Okay, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Detect if we even have any power here.
I think Janet's a vampire, that's why you can't see her.
What?
Pretty sure.
I don't even watch vampire movies. So. We don't go there.
All right, let's have a public hearing on the zone change then.
Can we go ahead, Marty, or
Can we go ahead?
without the camera?
Yeah, we're good without the.
Okay, we're on item 2, the public hearing for zone change of parcel AB-1376-A and AB-1376M from open space transitional and open space conservative open space to A10 agricultural, 10 acres, and the southwest corner of AB-1376M to RE1 rural estate 1 acre. Does anyone have a,
Ben, just for everybody's sake, do you happen to have that map handy you can pull up so people can look at it?
I do.
that's a beautiful piece of property.
in the packet, is that what you're referring to?
Whichever, yeah, whatever you can get to quickest, fine. Give people a sense of where
Yeah.
we're talking about.
By the way, so to introduce this property is directly across from the southern exit of
Cedar Point.
Cedar Point.
Okay. Space agriculture. And then what is this designated over here?
So the orange in the southwest corner, that's what we're doing the spot designation, spot zoning as RE1.
And this big lot next to it, to the west of it, what is that?
This is BLM property.
Okay, perfect. Did
So it
you
seems
open
like
you opened a hearing, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I did open the hearing.
Any comments on?
Any
from the
comments
public?
or-
Orange Square is for residential,
Yeah.
and then on the other
estates.
side is commercial.
Agriculture.
Agricultural.
It's changing from open space to agriculture is what
So the
they're,
part that's going north and south on Main Street.
This is not.
Oh, this does not touch that. This is totally.
This is across from
Okay,
Cedar
it's not-
Point.
It's not in our area.
This is their property.
I got that. Got you. Cool.
Sorry.
But that other one's coming up, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that one's coming up.
Okay.
doesn't sound like there's any
comments,
comments.
No comments?
I'd like to close public hearing.
So,
Amongst ourselves, I have no problem with this. I think it's a good use of the space.
what do we know about what's the 1376A1? Wonder what's that zone?
I believe that one is open space as well. I'm just taking a moment to confirm that.
They're surrounded by open
They're
space
surrounded by
there.
open space, yeah.
Down south of them, there's some ag ground right there, just the parcel just south of their piece, that's all ag too.
Right.
Way down at the bottom there, yeah, gotcha.
Just little quarter section away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't see any issues
No,
here.
I don't have any issue with it either. How about, Lee, how about you?
No, I'm fine with it.
Okay. Lynn, do you have any comment?
No, I
Bless you.
think we're fine to go ahead with it.
So we've got to make two motions here, one to change the general map and one to change the zone, right?
Go right ahead.
Okay, so I'd first like to make a motion that we approve the change, the general map change of parcel AB 1376A and AB 1376M from R1 residential 1 acre to agriculture. That's the motion.
I'll second.
Vote,
I,
Aye.
Aye.
pass.
And then I'd like to make another motion that we approve the zone change for parcels AB 1376A and AB 1376M from OTC OSC to A10 and RE1 respectively.
second,
Vote, please.
Aye.
Aye.
I,
Right on.
And that seems to have taken, yeah, that takes care of the floor. You now have your change. Can we have a motion to send this to the town council, please?
I'd like to make a motion, we send these to the town council for their discussion and approval.
second,
Vote, please.
Aye.
Aye.
I.
All right, thank you, Suzanne. I know your parents will appreciate you taking care of them like this. We'd like to open a public hearing for a zone change for parcel AB 1354B from open space transitional and open space to C2 commercial and CTP tiny cabins, tiny home park, GP designation commercial agricultural. Bang, Carrie here. How far, okay, how, Bang Industries.
Depends on grade.
Okay. And how far down Main Street is that? That's the one question I have.
It's about 1 mile off the highway.
About 1
South.
mile off the highway, because that's about as far as we want to go with our
It's
commercial.
further than that, isn't it? It's a half a mile to the cattle guard to Shane's.
Okay, and I know you have Coyote Road has quite a few homes on it. And there's one in your south corner. What kind of fencing are you gonna do?
We're gonna have a large buffer between our project and Coyote Road. On the map, you can see the
Yeah,
open space transitional remains buffer
oh, that's good.
on the west, south, and north.
And the new road access off of the highways is gonna be good for you also.
Yeah, on Main Street.
And where's your entrance gonna be on this property?
You say where?
Where?
Kind of in the middle.
Okay. So the homes all along Coyote and the one home, I forget the lot number.
Southwest.
Yeah,
corner,
southwest.
Or south corner.
Is there anybody here that is a neighbor to this property?
Okay, that's
Anything
why
you
we're
want?
gonna open the public hearing. I wanted to find out what they were gonna do first. So let's open the public hearing on this. Who wants to say something? Looks like a lot of people.
What exactly is the project and how many cabins and stuff, what are they planning on doing? Well, can you explain exactly?
Yeah, why don't you
what's
come up
gonna
here and
happen,
tell us
what's
what you're
going on,
gonna
what
do?
kind of project it is?
Well,
Because when
Where
people are on
exactly?
YouTube, they can't hear what anybody back there is
where do
saying.
I stand?
Right up here.
As far as the specifics on the project, part of that falls in with when we get approval on a zone change, we can submit a design of the project. It's gonna start off fairly small as what I would call a low density, kind of a higher end, tiny cabin project, which will have a lot of common areas, kind of park areas, walking paths. The reason we went for a large piece of land was to provide a nice buffer between what we're doing and what other people are doing, so that it doesn't create as much of an impact. It's hard, you can't really finish designing the project until we know if we can do the project. From what I understand, the project will have to get approved down the road anyway, before we can even do it. We want to do something that complements the area, that blends in with the landscape and creates an asset to the area rather than any kind of distraction or deterrent.
You may want to stay up here. You may have some questions.
So are they gonna be like cabins like those things over there, or
No.
those mobile home things over there?
Definitely not.
What kind of facilities are they? You have to thought of it.
Well, we have, but we don't have the designs put together yet, because that process, that would be pointless if we can't get a zone change.
They're kind of upscale compared to both those projects, though.
Yes.
Might be funny.
It would have much of a theme consistent with the Southwest area, with the Zion National Park area. One of our partners is one of the top faux rock people in the area, and we're gonna combine efforts and make a very artistic, creative project. Without drawings, it's hard to show you, for the zone change process, I'm just not sure how much I can try to present the project itself.
I think one of the things that people are probably most concerned about is traffic. Just, once the thing's fully built, how many units do you think, ultimately, do you think you could have in there?
Well, over time, it's about 50 acres that we want to use, and we could see possibly 100 units, depending on the demand, supply and demand.
But the zone already builds in a number anyway, so we should just be plugging that number in there.
Based on,
Yeah.
The
sure.
maximum is this, based on that. But when he puts this project together, we have the ability to go back and say, these are, this is a problem. He's not around for,
Sure.
all that kind of stuff. So we can beat this project up for another time.
Well, I like the
Yeah.
natural buffer zone, that's good. But, thank you, I know you can't do much till you get this.
What other
changed.
comments are there? Go ahead.
I'm just curious, I haven't heard anything about.
Sorry, can I ask for names for?
Trevor Black, 1094 South County Road. On the zone change there, it shows the proposed for residential, but I'm not hearing anything about residential being done. Is there a reason why you're not just doing it now and you're leaving it OST?
No real reason, just right now, we want to make sure we've got the buffer between the people on, Coyote Road especially, and the project. And it works for us and for you. We want our project to have, we've been out there and we feel like there's actually some really nice views throughout the area. And we want those views to be available for people visiting as well. And we don't want to obstruct your
Screw up
views.
your view.
Mhm.
Okay, one more question. So kind of, obviously you're building in phases. When do you think you're going to get to the residential, or is that totally up in the air?
That's up in the air. You're talking about the space along Coyote
That
Road.
you're leaving OST right
Yeah.
now?
Yeah, our goal isn't to come in and try to chop the land up and sell it off or do anything. We want to build a project, like a long-term project for us. Some of that resident or potential area that could be residential, we may end up building our own home there someday. The ability to build, a cabin or a family ranch or whatever.
Okay.
Well, Brandon, this is Heber Allred. I live up the street on Coyote Road, and initial thought without seeing the plans, I think it's a cool idea. But obviously, time will tell. I don't know if now's the discussion time, but have you thought about how you're gonna get water? And because that does impact like us,
Right.
we're interested in water
Right.
up the street too, so.
We looked at Coyote Road. I believe the closest water was somewhere north on Coyote Road, so we would like to bring the water down Coyote Road to the project.
So you'd be doing that instead of like a well system.
Right.
Richard?
A couple things. First off, the water's not in Coyote Road. It's not even here. It's 3/4 of a mile away.
To the north. Right.
Across the wash and over the mountains, all the way over to the storage units. There's a gentleman over there, Eckert, that's been looking at bringing it that way towards his property he has.
Okay.
It's gotta be a 12-inch main. So it's kind of spinning. That's why he's held off on his project for the time being. And the town or the water district has slated that 12-inch main goes all the way down Coyote, out around Connect to Cedar Point. So that would have to be 12 inches as well, all the way down through Coyote right there. But, it's just kind of helped you at that point, but
Are you Richard?
I am. Yep.
Sorry, name for the record, thanks.
Sorry, Richard Fisher, I live on Desert Drive. I like the project. I have a couple things to say, but I don't think your residential buffer area is quite big enough. And I'm a little bit, you've kind of been a little bit touchy with how many, buildings you're gonna build this, that with. The town ordinance right now is 10 per acre. You got 50 acres, that's 500 units that you can build in there. You said, well, maybe 100, but why do you need 50 acres if you're gonna maybe do 100?
Because we want space. We're not looking to cram as much in as we can.
Well, I have a family, and I have kids, and having people that are nightly rentals that close to my backyard, they're coming and going every single night, highly concerns me, really a lot. So I
We're
was
gonna, you know, you're gonna get that almost anywhere. There's a lot of traffic coming and going all over the country.
there is a lot of traffic. We've had people parking down the street, random people with California plates that I had to call the sheriff on because they parked there 5 days in a row.
Right.
So there's just weird things going on and
But ultimately, I mean, to answer that question about 50 acres, we, you know, looking at like the Zion Tiny, you know, we don't want shoulder to shoulder stuff. We bought that much space because we want it to be spread out. We want it to have that rural feel. We want it to be, you know, you spread out enough and it softens the impact. I know there's no way to guarantee, but that's our plan. And when we submit our project, that's where it'll show, because we would, you know, show how it would phase out, starting with probably 10 or 20. And then show how it would phase out with a maximum.
yeah, like I said, my thing is there's not quite enough buffer right there. Your commercial area is pretty big and it also goes down past the 1 mile mark that was set for that area. We all want commercial right there. The mayor put it up there for everybody to vote on it and we want both ways.
But
There's no set, buffer or limit on that either.
It's
We
not
talked
that,
about
but
one
that's what
mile, but we
everybody
haven't-
talked
we never-
about and that's what they like, but
we
But we
saw
never
the,
voted on it.
I think it was the general plan. We were looking at the general plan that showed more or less future commercial through there, so.
well, Main Street's where we want it, so we're good with that. I'm good.
Mhm.
It's like I said, it seems a little bit far south. I mean, you want your commercial closer to the highway anyways, for, at least till the town gets big enough to support something down that far, but.
Well, we don't have any current plans for the commercial right now.
So you're gonna,
Just fit the zoning on the general plan.
so you're gonna access the cabins from Main Street through your
Main Street.
commercial?
Yeah.
Will that be hard for those that live on Coyote?
What do you mean hard?
Well, where do you enter into Coyote Road? From Main Street?
No, up on 400 or down from south from
Okay.
Main through Desert and back up the other way. So,
So his traffic could hardly be a problem. It's
no, not.
it's the people you're worried about.
Yeah, I'm not, he's gonna help improve the road, he's gonna help bring the water, I mean, the project's a good project, I'm a little bit concerned how close, I mean,
Have you thought through what kind of fencing or barrier you're gonna have between the rural estates and the cabin section?
Yeah.
Can you draw a picture for us, paint a
That's all
picture?
we find in,
I'm just curious what his thoughts are.
We like the idea of the landscape buffer.
Yeah.
Having I can't remember if it said like 75 feet wide, but, you know, landscaping with maybe even some
Some mounding or
a little
something.
mounding, planted out with trees. And if we needed to do
Zero scape.
a wall or something, we could.
Sure.
But I really enjoy the landscape barrier.
Well, you also do split rail too, which is
Right.
not that high or intrusive.
We're excited to present what the project will look like and what it'll be
Mhm.
once we're.
We
at
need to
point
get
where
the
we
zone
can
change
Put
first.
that together for everybody.
yeah, the like fence buffer, Angel, Alan, sorry.
That's all right, it happens all the time.
According to the ordinance, it would be pretty much whatever he wants, 6 foot.
Yeah, I was just curious what he was
wall,
thinking, if he had a
fence,
thought.
Shrubs, things like that, I mean, with just some kind of buffer, and then the extra landscape thing he's talking about, that's kind of.
Well, the next time he comes in with drawings, we can have a developer's agreement on some of this stuff.
Mhm.
And that way we make sure that things are done within the boundaries of the town's desires.
Yeah, did you people there, did you speak already? I think you raised your hand earlier when you said,
No, I just was talking to him.
no, I was just wondering if you had
It's
anything.
my wife, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just concerned about the residences. I mean, I know the tiny cabins has got its own issues, but do you plan on putting homes in then?
In the open space
Yeah.
transitional.
The residential area.
Yeah, in the RE section, yeah, that,
Well, we're
nothing's actually changing. He's leaving that
Right now, yeah, we're not zone changing that open space buffer around it right now.
How many acres is that?
Now 50.
So real quick, if you don't mind, what, in our ordinance for tiny homes and or tiny cabins and, rental use type of thing, is there something that says they have to be a certain distance from the highway or anything like that, or is it okay? When we check that, I'm just curious.
50 feet.
No,
It says it's supposed to be within.
The property line. I think.
No, I'm talking about like.
No, we don't have it, anything that says it has to be X number of miles within 59 or something. Is that what you're wondering?
Yeah, that's what I'm curious.
Yeah, doesn't- yeah.
No, okay.
The more you're talking about it.
this is like developing the tourist commercial zone that we're trying
And
to
that's the
do.
area down that way, that area, and that's what we've all talked about.
For sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that way and the other, and
Going
going
north.
north, yeah.
On the plus side, I mean, this will bring in work for, for the community and, as our kids get older, could provide jobs. I mean, there's.
Yeah, no, it's like I said.
Oh, it's a-
So are you
yeah.
guys planning on paving Main down to your entrance?
We'd like to start with road base, maybe chip seal. I mean, as we can, we'd love to pave it. That'll take,
Being on the road department, we don't want any more chip seal.
okay,
We want asphalt. So if you're doing road base, do road base. If you're gonna do asphalt, let's do asphalt. But one thing is, just so you know, when you're talking asphalt versus chip seal, you have to be well over a mile before it changes much. So if you're doing like 4 or 5 miles, chip seal's cheaper. You're doing under a mile or at a mile, you're really close to the same price.
Yeah.
Because the guys that do it, there's only one guy, one company really that does it here in southern Utah. They're out of Cedar City. And they get their whole crew together, they mow everything out, and they'll come and do it. But that expense to get here with all their equipment
right.
is pretty splendid. So to do it, to save the money that everybody thinks chip seal's cheaper for, you have to have well over a mile. It's not even worth it.
Okay.
So we just had a bunch of roads around here bid out for asphalt, kind of looking at some of the things what it would take. And well, oil's down right now, so asphalt's actually pretty dang cheap, but yeah, it's not a big savings to go chip seal unless you're doing, 4 or 5 miles.
Okay.
Just a heads up.
Well, the roads will come when he shows the project, when he comes before us with the project. But does, anybody have any other comments on this? I know I went through this last week or last month.
I do have, so that means a big piece of property. What are you, have you looked into what you're thinking about with sewer and things like that?
We've been looking.
So.
A project like this, it would almost require a commercial sewer
No,
system.
it's not almost, it has to. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. It has to be
Yeah.
commercial, so it's either gonna have to be pods, but the problem is when we visit with Dale Harris, he's on the, water master, he's part, over the sewer district type of thing. If we end up getting 5 or 6 or 8 of these projects like this, they'll have their own little commercial systems and have to be maintained and dealt with. We're eventually gonna put ourselves in a problem as a community. So we discussed with Hilldale about running a pipeline out to Hilldale. And to do it, it would take 2 lift stations to go from Main Street all the way to Hilldale, and then pretty much everything else around here would end up being gravity feed. You may get somebody that's down the hole that has to put a lift station in, but for the most part, it would be gravity feed after that. But
Sounds like Richard wants a job.
What comment I'll add on that, sometimes if you think too far ahead, you can't get anything done.
No, you can't. That's the problem.
Sometimes you have to let it be a little less than ideal, so you can actually get some business coming in and some money happening, then things kind of take care of themselves.
The engineer that we work with, he's designed septic systems and also with the ability to transition to sewer, so that we could build it now and then as sewer comes available, switch the system over so that we're now using sewer.
yeah, I think that's what Cedar Point did. They've got everything in place for sewer, manholes, everything, but it's all a dead system right now until later, so.
I just have a question.
Sure.
we're doing a zone change and it looks like there's one parcel and 2 or 3 zones being proposed.
Two.
And on the map, on this map, it shows 3, but that's okay.
Well, open
Well, it's
space,
a-
some of it stays open space.
Why is it being done, like the lot splits, there's a lot split issue that's coming up on the next item agenda. And how those things get done is on that agenda. And the reason I'm questioning is why are we doing a zone change separate from
So
doing the parcels?
we're just zone changing our piece of land. We're not splitting it up.
A lot of,
So that, the one you're looking at, I think is for a different parcel.
Well, what she's
No,
saying is,
come on.
since you're going commercial with one piece, you're going the tiny cabins with one, and OST or future residential, shouldn't we have to split those into individual lots before we zone change them?
We asked and
We have no
Why
problem with
why
spot
split
zoning.
ownership?
There's no problem with spot zoning parcels.
That's all.
so
That's
he'll
what
be
she was
able
asking, so
to,
cool.
he won't have to do a lot split to have 3 different zones in one parcel?
Correct. I mean, if one goes residential, which the application doesn't reference, but if one goes residential, logically, you're going to have separation of parcels at that point. But just for zoning purposes, we can do spot zoning. We did one 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, I understand that one. I'm just choosing to pick on you. That's why. You're building a house with their mother. And
Let's go
I'm
ahead and-
really
hey,
just
Janet.
asking questions. I'm not
Let's go ahead and close this.
necessarily- I mean,
Janet.
I've never heard
Janet.
of that.
Janet,
What's coming
let's
up
close
with
the
the
hearing.
lot split
Yeah.
Okay, it's getting out of- it's getting
discussion is that
long.
some
Not
of
getting
these
anything
issues
done.
that are being brought up about roads, utilities, water, fire,
right.
currently are not coming up at the lot split discussions and some of
Okay,
us
well,
would like to see that
that's-
happening. So I agree with this gentleman that analysis paralysis is a very big problem. So is moving ahead
Too quickly.
too quickly. And what we have to do is find a middle ground on that. And what you're proposing, there's a lot of money and there's a lot of impact. And maybe a little bit more time making sure that it's clear what is going to be split and how it's going to be accessed and what water you're going to use. I mean, those are very fundamental issues. And
just,
so
thank you.
my comment is maybe lot splits and zone changes or the issues that are being proposed to be discussed in the new lot split application
Well-
should be discussed a little bit more at this point in a project before it comes for the public hearing. So that's my comment.
He's got water
Okay, thank you for your
rights
comment.
with that land.
I don't know.
No, he does. He got water rights with that land when he bought the land.
Yeah,
And he's gonna be putting in the water main down to help the town get, move the water towards service and better. So
Well, one thing. to
Close the
keep in
hearing.
mind is this is-
Close the hearing.
okay,
You'll have to separate.
We need to close this.
we're gonna close the public hearing right now and discuss whether or not we're gonna do this. Because like you said, if you can't get the zone change, then there's nothing they can do. And they are gonna come before us with the project. And that will be the time to really question these things. So do you have anything to say, Alan?
I mean, this fits exactly into the general
Yes, it
plan.
does.
It's a little bit adjacent to where we thought we would start commercial development, but
Yes.
the
We gotta
project is the
start-
project and you gotta start somewhere.
somewhere.
I mean, one of the things Apple Valley needs desperately is more
Income.
commercial income.
Yes.
And this project takes off. It fits our brand pretty well. It's outdoor.
Outdoor artsy.
Open
it's-
space,
It's kind of right up what
um,
we're going to do.
We already have all these people driving up and down our highway. We might as well collect money from them as they drive
They
through.
might as well stay here.
Yeah.
They
So
might
yeah, I
as
mean,
well stay here.
I think it's right in our wheelhouse. I don't see any problem with it.
Okay,
I agree with that.
I agree too. How
I mean,
about
I'm
you?
excited to see the plan.
How about you, COVID now?
Yeah, as much as we've worked on that area, it's owned properly, and if it is rezoned, it doesn't guarantee the project will get done.
Mhm.
Yes,
It's only the one. We're not giving them anything except positive.
okay. And I think that's where we should start, so does anybody want to make a motion? We send this to town council.
I move that we approve the zone change of AB 1354 B from OST OSC, open space to C2 commercial and C2 cabin, Piney Park home, and pass it on to the town council.
I'll second that.
Vote,
Aye.
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 Thank you. Now you got the zone change. We'll see you when you got a plan.
Yeah.
Be good neighbors and everybody will love you.
We're thinking about moving her mother in.
So we're just gonna go ahead
What?
and we're just gonna go ahead and line out the next three, right?
Yes, we are. Lining
Okay.
up the next three.
Leave that alone.
7, 8, and 9, we're gonna not be doing because the laws have changed in the state of Utah. Can I have quiet, please? 7, 8, and 9 this is between neighbors, quick claim deeds and filing with the county recorder is how it used to be, and that's how it's going back. So we're not going to discuss those. But we want to open the public hearing for proposed changes to 11-02-040, necessity of plat exemption from plat requirement. I would like the mayor to please,
I'll go last.
I want you to explain.
Well, we'd like to know the rationale if you don't,
I'd
if
like
that's
to
okay.
explain this from 3 to 10. And then
What is it, what are we changing?
Well, our plat process or our lot line adjustment, or excuse me, lot subdivision process is written in our code right now. It allows us to sign off on dividing 3 lots. And we have some requirements that we administer in-house. Is it on a public right of way of some kind? Does it have the proper frontage, is it the proper size? In the case of other wells, it's 5 acres in size. So it depends on where these are done at. We look at all these different parameters. Is there access to water, power? And sometimes it could be an agricultural split where it's, 100 acres and we're just divided in 2 pieces and we don't care about water and power. We only want to know where they have access. But we've had so many grammar requests on these that people accuse us of doing things wrong. And it's because we didn't get, in our code, it says we have to have the,
Joint utility commission.
joint utility commission, I was trying to think of the verbiage on it, to sign off on it. We don't have a joint utility commission. And it says that these have to be done by deed. And I can't look at a deed and tell what they're splitting. So we have them do a record of survey, which is a picture.
Right.
I get a picture. I can see where the easements are. I can see, do they have all that stuff on it? I can tell that. And so it doesn't say record of survey in our ordinance, so we're adding the words record of survey in there.
Instead of deed.
And one proposal I want to add to that is we discovered when we were doing a lot split for Christie, and she's in the platted area of Apple Valley, that they wouldn't accept a record of survey. We had to do it in a plat. So I'd like to add the verbiage to this amended plat as a possible scenario along with record of survey, because the county wouldn't accept a record of survey in her case. And that's because it is platted, and because it's platted, you have to amend it that way. And so I would recommend we even add that verbiage to that.
Down under D.
Sorry, I didn't look that up.
Right.
Um,
It's right,
Should graphically illustrated,
right, we have it right there.
Subdivision plat.
or just add the
Yeah,
words.
yeah, amended plat, and, because that's what the county will require, and they have a list of things that they require. I don't think we have to list out their list.
Mhm.
So everyone wants to have a public noticing on this. They think that it should come to the planning commission for approval. The mayor has too much power, and on and on and on. And if you read, some of the comments that they've given us, why do they want that?
Transparency.
Not at all. It's just so they can vote no. It's so they can get together and get a petition in and say, no, we don't want that. But here's the problem. If you read the state code, the state doesn't really even allow us to say no on some of this stuff, because they allow us to do these things and they say up to 10. Why don't we have the same? Everybody's afraid. They're afraid that we're going to make 10 lots out of, somebody's 10-acre parcel. And we can't do that. It's always based on zoning.
Mhm.
If the zoning is 1 acre and they've got 10 acres, yeah, then maybe we could do that. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about somebody up in Bubbling Wells that's in that area, that's by the people that are here to talk against this, wanting to say that, no, we don't want that many houses up there. We don't want that many buildings going on. We don't want that many lots up in that area. And so we want to stop them from doing that, which is against the law for us to even do. We can't go in there.
That's low density up there anyway, so.
Right, but if they're, so we always look at that. Is it 5 acres? Then we can do the lot split. If it's not, they can't.
Yeah.
And so we don't let anybody go and say, oh, well, we're gonna take 5 acres, go to 2.5. They can't do that in that area because of the cloud that's above that. And so anyway, we have the ability to do 10 lots right now. It just means they come in and do an application, we divide the lot into 3. And then we have them redraw the next week, and then they come back in and we sign another one, and lets them divide 3 more. And then they go home and they can draw up another one, and we can divide those lots into 3 more. And so, so we're not gonna stop some, first off, we're trying to stop someone from doing what they should be able to do on their property. And the thing is with the process that we have, it's about having someone, if you look at what the state, let's use, for example, this lot line adjustment.
Yeah.
Why did the state do that?
Because that's the way it used to be.
Well, no, what I'm getting at is they've changed it. We used to, because Tish had mentioned to me back before we were even in town, she had to go to the county to do a lot line adjustment on our property.
Yeah, so the,
And then we had to go there, we had to ask permission, we had to jump through all those hoops. And then we adopted the county ordinances when we became a town, and that's been as part of it. And as recent as Robert Campbell's property, we charged them and we made them come before the planning commission to do this. And, but now the state has updated their policy on that, and the reason they do that is they don't want a town being able to say no to someone on something as simple as a lot line adjustment. That's why it's not political. In the same way, they've made this easy for you on the state law that says you go up to 10. And that was an arbitrary number they picked. We're not going to insist anybody do 10. It's about them having the ability to do up to 10 without a big, long, drawn-out process of a plat process. And St. George does them that way right now, up to 10. And they just have a staff person that does the signing of those. They have to submit paperwork and they have to verify things just like we do. We'll have the fire chief review it. We'll have, Big Plains review it. Myself reviews it. Ben reviews it. This is not like in the dead of night, somebody comes by and I just need a signature on a piece of paper.
yeah,
These people have been taking as long as 2 months to make me happy on these things, to make sure that they have all their I's dotted and T's crossed and that everything is done right. The signature blocks are right. And we even half the time show them to the county, make sure they're happy with them before we even sign off on them and get a Mylar. This isn't this, but I think I feel like what they want to do is turn this into let's go to the planning commission and let them decide if this is appropriate or not. And then that's a vote, and if someone convinces you guys to vote no, we're gonna put in a position that, well, hold it a second, everything's legal.
Yeah, we can't vote no on things that we legally can't vote no on.
And that's why, that's true. Even Sean, he's online, he's told us that this is crazy to have this go before a public
we had
hearing
this,
and
yeah.
do all of that.
Well, if it's a
Because,
subdivision, it's already platted out.
Is there a state ordinance or something like that we can show everybody that this is how it's supposed to be because the state said so type of deal, or what is that?
A lot of the stuff that we've done in this is just right out of the state code.
Okay, we're gonna open the public hearing on the changes to 110204, the necessity of plat exemption from plat requirements. Does anybody have any questions, Mary? Could you state your name and I want these entered into the record and
Mary Cannon. I live in Bubbling Wells area. I have a cabin on the hill. And the statement that we're just trying to keep people from moving in is false. I submitted a proposal to the Planning Commission for a process that would be as simple as possible and no simpler. I got involved in this only because of the results of lot splits that went horribly awry. And so looking at the situation, the mayor he says we, but it's he. The fire chief has never been asked, the water board has never been asked. And I'm not talking about what state says is the minimum you have to do. I'm talking about what our town needs. Our town is not St. George, it's not Hurricane. We have homes in the middle of juniper trees on dirt roads that are sometimes in rough shape. We don't have utilities, water pipes, fire access, hydrants. In a lot of the land that we're talking about, I think almost half the land in the town is available for subdivision. The proposal is that a person, number one, Planning Commission cannot approve a lot split. You can only recommend or deny and send it to the designated. It's not up to you. But what I am proposing is that, like most towns, and like the way the code does encourage, is that if someone has a project like this, that they come to the Planning Commission, I'm recommending that the Planning Commission get involved so we don't have just the mayor. And I can talk about why just the mayor can be a problem. But what I'm recommending is that they come to the Planning Commission and they be assigned an individual to be an advisor and talk about the whole project in the beginning, to be a partner, to help people accomplish their goals without finding out halfway through that what the mayor told them is false. The mayor tells them, oh, you can access this road. It's, I'll get the road for you. Well, he failed.
Yeah.
And we have problems because of it. And I'm maybe very frustrated because so much conversation about should one person and one person only who has a reputation for being a bully, for having fits of rage, for telling mistruths, about individuals to their neighbors, for bullying their neighbors.
This, excuse me.
Do you have proof?
This public hearing is literally legally not the place to be making accusations, okay?
I have tried to avoid this, and I think you all.
You'll have to,
that
because legally we are,
I'm done.
we have to ask you to leave if you're gonna call out people by name, okay?
I'm
That's
done.
not legally your right at a public hearing. The state of Utah does not allow for
Yeah, you gotta,
direct
we have to state,
confrontations like that. Sorry.
state facts. and
You can
not-
have your say, just try not to make it personal.
Not
You just called out, the
factual.
Well,
But I'm not objecting, you know.
the time to do what
What
you're
I'm
talking about is at the
proposing-
voting booth, okay? This isn't the time to be talking about individuals in
I'm
a
done.
derogatory way.
I'm done. Like I said, and you know, I'm just tired because no one wants, it's like, well, what's the problem with the mayor being the guy? I don't, you know, I've given you all kinds of reasons why it might be a problem, but you don't want to hear. from your
Nobody said we don't want to hear. What are you talking about? We're
I
listening.
hate-
Everybody here is hearing you, including the people, we're recording this. This is out there in the ether for eternity now.
All right.
You've,
Well, the problem is that sometimes people are told that they can do things that they can't. And these projects get broken into pieces, and then all of a sudden, a project that gets approved at one level on one way moves down, and then it becomes a problem, and we've already approved this part of it. You see it happening time and time again. I'm just suggesting that planning is the natural place for this to occur and to start, and that an individual be appointed to help people, because most people are more like the small property owners and less professional developers. They don't have a lot of experience, and they need partners to make sure that they don't end up halfway through a project with problems that could have been identified early on.
okay,
So
thank
you
you.
have a
Any more
proposal
comments?
by
There
professionals,
was a road.
and it's approved by the land use authority, whoever that might be, whether it's the mayor
That was us.
or the town council.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay,
Next,
3
yeah, I think
minutes is
you're
up.
behind you. Yeah.
Margaret Osowski, 1024 Westville Canyon. I do want to make one comment. There is another resident and myself that started working on these subdivisions. And we did not accuse the mayor of being, secretive or whatever. We just saw a problem and brought it to the attention, and that was it. And we never accused him of having too much power.
Okay,
That's
thank
all
you.
I want to
I think somebody else, yeah, go ahead.
Bob?
Robert Campbell, Old 97 North Apple Valley Drive. And the question is really for legal if Mr. Guzman's online. And it's simple as, to finish a lot of this conversation, it's simple as, can we override a state law if that's what the state law says?
No.
And if that's not, then it's really.
Yeah, we've had this discussion with Sean before and we can't. Yeah, go ahead.
Heber Allred, Coyote Road. As a landowner, I own a significant amount of land in that area, and I know a lot of people in the area that feel the same. We bought our land because we want to do something with it. And I think that too much regulation can kill projects, and I've seen it personally. And I think that we should lean towards the property rights of owners as much as possible.
Mhm. Okay, go ahead.
Richard Fisher, 1241 South Oak Drive. I just have a real quick question or a comment about the roads. I volunteer on the roads, stuff like that. I've dealt with the state and the county with roads and easements and right of ways and restricted easements. The state law on restricted easements says if there is a road in the state of Utah being used by more than one family, so just 2 people, for more than 2 years, automatically becomes a prescriptive public right of way. That's a road that you cannot change once they've used it for 2 years. You cannot put a gate on it, you can't block it. It's not yours anymore. It now is a public road, and the state gives the town funds to grade and maintain or even improve at the time because there's enough people around to help do that. That's a state law. That's how the road system works in the state of Utah. I've dealt with it on my own personal property. I have to deal with it when I help people build their homes. That's how it works. You can't just buy a property and say, hey, this road right here comes to my house, and now I own this land, and I don't want them to use it anymore. You can't do it, it's against law. So if that road has been there for more than 2 years, and more than one family uses that road, it is a prescriptive easement and becomes a public right of way.
Oh, I know the project.
Yeah.
Frank Linhart, 1325 South 1050.
Hey, you know what? We don't have to give addresses anymore. Just your name is fine.
We know where
Yeah.
you live, right?
None of us can remember our address.
It's really very simple, what's before you. Because there's two ways to subdivide in any city, any town like us. One is through the subdivision ordinance, where you require preliminary plat and all these construction plans that are all very detailed, and it's very cumbersome. So the state and the town right now has on your books a way to simplify that
Yes.
if it meets certain requirements. And the mayor brought up several issues of, he says that people are upset with him doing it. They're requesting these grammar requests because, and it's because they don't know that there's stuff being subdivided around them.
Mm-hmm.
So from my point of view, what I hear and what I see is simply is if we make that process so people can see what's going on, it's not that they're trying to stop them, it's just that then they can come like we do now and participate and say, well, maybe that's a good idea, and that's why you have public hearings.
Mm-hmm.
Is that, or I like it, I'll support it. But when we do it with just one person that approves everything, but there is no public notice, it doesn't go on the agenda, it doesn't go in front of anyone, then all of a sudden you can see that 100 acres next to you got subdivided into 10 parcels. And then a few months later, they could technically come back in and divide it to 10 more. And then you have a whole subdivision that just bypassed our subdivision ordinance with no notification to anyone. The neighbors don't know, anyone living next to it, planning commission wouldn't even know necessarily, or town council members. So I know I'm a developer, as probably most of you know. So Hurricane City, they don't require you cannot do any lot splits without going to planning commission and city council. I just went to 2 meetings, and there was 3 of them on the agenda, and they zip right through. If there are no issues or problems, then it's just like it did here with Spenlows.
Yeah.
Here is, they want to divide, and the planning commission says, okay, we recommend approval, goes to town council, and they approve it. So it can be very short, very, very easy. And so my recommendation is to eliminate all this, whether it's legitimate or not, that something's going on behind my back. Just put it all in front of the planning commission and town council. Because it's not like you're loaded with a giant agenda every time, every week or every month. So keep it in the open. Let people see what's going on. I can't see any reason why we should expand one person approval. I think we should just do away with it. And I think I read through Mary's proposal. It can be very fast. It's just like with Spenlows.
Yeah.
And it does go through all the different utilities, which one person may overlook. But when you have more than one person that asks questions and look at it and sign off on it,
But I know, for example, the lot split that was just done in my neighborhood, the town got a 25-foot right-of-way for, or deeded to them for a future road, which was perfect, which was awesome. But there wasn't anybody from the power, there was no connection between power and town. So they put a transformer right in the middle of this right-of-way. So when the town someday needs to develop that road, then the town will be paying for moving this transformer all the way out of the road. But if we had an open process, that requirement of the water and the power and the sewer, they all sign off. And it's all just a piece of paper, like you said, the same thing as, same paperwork as you're requesting. It's just a drawing that shows this is what I'm dividing. This is where there's utilities.
Public notice.
Public notice. So it's very, very simple. So the only difference between what Mary proposed in her written form is simply, instead of one person, now it's planning commission and town council.
Yes.
And it can be done in 1 month. So there's nothing saved, nothing, it's not gonna be drawn out, because you don't require construction drawings, you don't require lengthy anything, just simple, go through, make sure everything's check, it's there, and then everybody's off the mayor's back.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
it was the town council and the planning commission that did it. So I think what she proposed will work well for Apple Valley.
Thank you for your comment.
Thank you, Frank, I appreciate it.
Any other comments before we close the public hearing?
I just had one quick question. So I know in my process, it took, lengthy amount of time. So with the lot splits, it's still gonna either require an ROS or a survey, ornamented plat, one of the two, correct? So it'll still have to ensure that those are done no matter what happens. So it's clear. So that's getting reviewed somewhere.
And normally you don't change the zoning in an area like that just because they got a lot split, still have to follow the general plan.
Yeah.
And the current zone.
Marty, you want to say something else? Go ahead. Go ahead, real quick.
Keep her all around here. So does this mean if I was to just sell off a piece of my land, I'd have to come into the city for approval?
Yes.
To sell a piece of my land?
For a lot split, yes.
If you need to split it to sell it.
Yeah, you have to split it to sell it. So as a landowner, it's like, why, I'm just transferring ownership of this land. Why shouldn't they just come to the city for approval to build on it instead of me needing the city's approval to sell my land? It's my land.
Okay, that's a good comment. Marty, you want to have one last thing
Yeah,
before we
one
close the
last,
hearing?
Comment is we're talking about bringing you guys into the process that is already legal by the state. And let's take and add a new kink in the whole system by saying that, well, we want the planning commission to review all of these things because the mayor's inept, along with everyone else that we've got on the list
Yeah.
to do that. And he's right that in this case, a transformer got placed, that was placed before we ever did the lot split.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden it's gonna be our fault, like the water main. There's a water main right in the corner too, the hydrant. That's right in the roadway as well, because the water district wasn't looking out for the setbacks. And so, I mean, mistakes made because we're not professionals at this. We do the best we can.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But to add a layer of, let's throw you guys into the mix on it too, so we can have a public hearing, now we have a problem.
Yeah.
What we just ran into today, what did we just do? Spend loves. We already did this once.
Yes.
But we had to do it again because something wrong with the
Notices.
noticing. Someone didn't get a letter.
Doesn't require. a
And so
public
now,
hearing.
if we have this public hearing and have to have a planning commission vote on this thing, what's gonna go wrong that time?
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden now it's not a month or two and you're asking to do this process that's above and beyond what the state's requiring anyway. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Can we
that
have
we can nail down the process of who has to sign off on these. We've added signature blocks, so everyone has to sign off on these. We're trying to make it a little more in line with what people are saying, that more than one person's looking at this stuff. But I'm not for, adding a layer of,
public oversight.
Okay, one more thing real quick, and then let's close this thing down.
Just real quick, Rob, what suggestion, I guess, what if we kind of combine all the little things we've got going on here? So obviously, no public comments, we're not deterring the property owner. But if they submit that for the lot change, you guys get it digitally, and you guys look at it, and then you check the rules and make sure it's done. So there's a couple other eyes looking at it. You guys send it off digitally, it goes to Ben, Ben says, hey, dude, you approved, everybody looked at it, see you later.
Yeah, okay. One last one, and then let's close it.
Because I keep getting referenced.
Yeah, and you're getting misreferenced because yours was not yours was a zone change. That's what we dealt with.
Split off from my mother-in-law.
Sure, but we had to approve the zone change
But
first.
I have had to talk to the fire department, I've had to talk to roads, I've had to talk to water to get everything ready for my building permit and for making sure that everything's there
Mhm.
already. I'm not just going in blind, and I have had Ben holding my hand the whole time. By the way, it's getting kind of sweaty, sorry, Ben.
You're not supposed to be doing that during the lockdown here.
Yeah.
All right, let's close this hearing.
Okay, we're gonna close public hearing.
Okay, what I heard was a call.
There was one more that had not yet commented, I think.
Could I make one comment?
Oh, Lord.
Sure.
You got to open it again then.
We're gonna open the public
Oh,
hearing.
you can participate in our discussion. Go ahead.
Mary was referring to my position there, or her concern there. And having just done it, it took me a year. And there's a lot of complications to it, and I don't blame her. But one thing that she did mention that I wholeheartedly agree with is having some kind of a contact for the process.
Yeah.
So that you're not trying to catch up with everybody.
I like that,
Have to
yeah.
make everybody happy at the same time.
Okay, that's good. That's actually in line with what I was about to say. So,
That's
see,
what you're talking about adding, is one more layer of that. So instead of just the mayor, the fire chief, and, you know, somebody from roads, now you gotta. handle
Yeah,
these people
okay.
too. You know, you're just adding more.
public hearing's closed. Sorry, Marty.
Hearing is closed. Well,
It seems to me that people are calling for transparency. They want to know ahead of time when something happens. They don't want bulldozers and things showing up on their lot next door going, oh my gosh, what happened? It seems to me that, and on the other side of it, I don't know about the rest of you as planning commissioners, but I do not consider myself an expert on this stuff. So if you want to throw it on our table and go, hey, we're going to check all the T's and I's, we're planning commissioners. We're not nuts and bolts manufacturers,
Yeah,
whatever.
they're not attorneys.
So, and honestly, I don't want to see an agenda full of these kinds of things. This is staff work. This is
Yes.
not, I don't see this as planning commission work. If you want to do something with land you own that fits the zone that you live in,
Do it.
we can't stop you no matter how many times we come and talk about it. It doesn't, I mean, it's now, but what could happen, I think, if we could make an addition to this amendment that specifically asks that these things show up on the agenda just for notice on town council agendas ahead of them being approved. Just town council. I don't think we even need to deal with it. It just needs to, so if it goes out in the record somewhere so people know, if you read the agenda, hey, it looks like my lot next door is going to get split into two. It's that, you know, the neighbor owns 10 acres and it's zoned RE5, so it's perfectly legal to do. Staff's going to approve it because they can't say no to it anyway. At least there's advance notice that covers the fact that you didn't know about it, right? Before the bulldozers show up. But I don't want to be the one. And you already have it. You already said you have a system, a checklist with signatures. It says specifically in here that these things have to be approved by water and sewer. So if somebody's not telling them, then you're running afoul of our own ordinance already, even before the amendment. So we've got to get that. Those have to be done, or else they're.
Like with Dantas, he's been in communication with them for a year before he ever came and talked to me. So I mean, that's to say that they're not in the loop on some of this stuff.
But do we have a system of sign offs?
We didn't have them sign off as far as the water district goes, but they bring in a letter from the district that says that they're gonna provide water if they're willing to. I mean, they know this stuff is going on. They want it. They need the impact money and they're anxious for the hookup.
Okay, so there's no way that we can get to the point where it's approved without,
But we can have them, and we've been doing that in the last one we did, we made Dale Harris sign off on it, and we can start adding signature block again, we can add a signature block for our.
I mean,
attorney, so
to me,
one
if,
person looks at it.
if we're calling for it to have been approved by the water district, then we need a signature that shows that it's been done. So let's just,
Harold or
staff should just make sure that happens as part of the town.
They've always been in the loop on these, they just haven't signed the document.
I think we should have I mean, approval means, you know, in my opinion, a formal approval of some kind, not just a form
Yeah,
that says,
you know, just a letter from them, services, you know.
Okay, so we want notice.
Oh, what
I like the idea of
what is
notice.
The town council meeting when the mayor gives these
I'd
town
like to get
updates.
Sean to comment on this, if you don't mind. Sean, can you?
Sean, you're
do you have
up.
anything? I know we talked about this at a meeting prior, Sean, about how you guys do it in St.
That-
George.
And so what I will say on this, first of all, is the state laws, it's written so that each jurisdiction can tailor to their own needs and wants. My concern about notice is only if that notice, and if we were to have a notice in a public hearing and we had to notify property owners within a certain radius, those types of things, because we create a burden and also a way for someone to challenge something if notice is deficient. But if the notice is simply on an agenda saying that while the council may not take action on approving it, whatever it may be, there's notice, and someone from staff says, just letting you all know, there was a 6-lot subdivision approved in this area here, or it's ready
Pending.
for approval. It meets all of the requirements. I will say that it specifically states in state law that it has to be in an area that's zoned and conforms to all applicable land use ordinances. Then if someone in staff wants to just present that, it'll just be, the notice could be that simple too.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about something that requires a public hearing. I'm not even talking about something that indicates whether or not the prerequisites have been met. Because I don't want town council's agenda to get muddied up with, you know, how far along is this? And I just want it to be a statement made by staff. We've got this application in front of us.
So we can just put a notice of application.
That's it.
On town
Yes.
council agenda as soon as we get the
Yes.
notice of application.
That's all I'm
Or
asking
on-
for.
on the
It could be
I think
months
that's
later before we actually
totally.
sign it.
If it's out there
Or on the
once,
town
everybody
website.
knows about it. They can get together with their neighbors that it involves and have the discussion. Hey, I didn't know you were splitting your lot. Do you mind if I borrow a parcel? Whatever.
I can look at that.
Marty,
I agree
could you,
with most
could
of what
you,
you're saying. I also would like to see the signature lines included.
I'd like to see this again.
Or-
I think just for, I mean, you know, because what we're doing is we're setting a precedent here. There's going to be new staff someday. Let's make sure we do them a favor and give them some details to follow. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that makes perfect sense.
and we could put notices of these things and then the paperwork with the signatures on it on file on the.
No, we don't
website,
even,
On the
Well,
town,
Well, we keep that stuff.
I mean, that's in the
Yeah,
town.
It's already on file.
Yeah.
it's already on file.
We keep them all.
I don't, that stuff shouldn't even be part of the minutes or anything. It just,
Just,
the only thing in the minutes should be that there was an agenda that said this and that's it. I mean, it
we
doesn't
need
need,
to know what's
there's
going
no
on.
approval. I don't think, I mean, I'm just talking for myself. There's 4 other planning commissioners, but I don't want this on our agenda every day, every time we have a meeting.
No.
It's just, it's literally a rubber stamp. I mean, we can't say no to it if they follow the rules.
Yeah.
So there's no sense in muddying up our agenda with it. It's staff.
So,
as far as I see
Can I
it.
just clarify, Alan, if I could, can you hear me?
Yeah.
So what I hear you saying then is that when an application is received, that it would be on the town council agenda and staff would report that we've received an application for a 6-lot subdivision in this area here. We're reviewing that internally and just wanted you to know that.
That's it.
we have that
Perfect,
application.
That's it.
that's it.
That's it. And Lee's comment about updating the process itself so that there are actual signatures, making sure that we've gotten to the appropriate approvals. Now, as far as holding the hand of somebody through the process, I don't see that as town council or a planning commission job. I do think that the town, if there's ample hours in the day to help, we'd probably be more than willing. I
That's what
mean,
we're
Ben
here
seems like
for.
he's perfectly willing to help. I don't know that it's on his job description, so I don't know that we can, you know, give him a timeout if he says no to somebody, but I'm pretty sure they'll, you know, it'd be nice, right? If everybody didn't have to rely on Google to know how to do all this stuff. But it's not the town's job to do that. I mean, let's be honest. Landowners have to do their own due diligence. That's just, but it'd be great if staff could be available to the extent that there's staff time to be available. Yeah.
So I agree with Sean completely.
Yeah, I think that Sean reiterated exactly what I was trying to
Yeah.
get to. Now, how we word that into here, do you want us to take another, to take a, should we take a stab at updating this amendment so we can approve it now, or do you want to bring it?
Send it to town council, yeah.
You want to read it back?
So there were basically just two things.
Yep, so that there would be a notice of application on a town council agenda, as well as the signature blocks added for each approving party.
Okay, and
Okay,
you have those
good.
on the amendment so that we can,
Because that way it
Make a
adds more
motion accordingly, okay.
transparency to it. And I think that's what everybody wants.
now I did a lot of talking as if I was very sure myself. So does anybody want to disagree? Because it's just an opinion.
I
you
agree
know.
with Sean and I agree with you.
You know, as a side comment, it would be an appropriate time to add an agenda to a town council item. This is mayor's discretion, but where generally staff reports on the goings on of the town for the prior month. We currently have a financial report, but it would also make sense to have a planning and zoning report.
This could totally be the beginning
The
of,
report would be
absolutely. I
good.
think that'd be
How many
great.
building permits were received for homes or accessory buildings.
What do you think of that? That'd be great. Let's make that, we'll make that as a side recommendation to the town,
Okay.
but yeah, to the council. Okay, so who wants to? All right, where's the agenda here? I would like to make a motion that we approve the amendments as further amended, based on what Ben just said,
Yes. Could you repeat? that?
to, do you want to read those out loud for the,
Please.
as part of the,
That a notice
Motion.
of application will be included on a town council agenda, as well as signature blocks added for each approving party.
okay, these,
Did we, excuse me, did we get in that last paragraph too, where we're going to say, survey map for amended subdivision?
That is
plat
in
map?
the amendment.
amendment, okay, good. Thank you for pulling that out, yeah. So I'd like to make that motion that these changes be made to 11.02.040, necessity of plat, exemption of plat requirements.
Second,
Ooh, Lee, gotcha.
I,
Aye.
Aye.
So we will get notices when this happens.
I just want to clarify, if I could, what the statement that was just made. When the notice that will be given is that it will be reported in an open meeting as, and it'll be agended.
It'll be posted on the agenda, exactly.
That's
Yep.
right. That way everybody knows what's going on. I would like to ask if we could have our planning commission meeting on the first Wednesday of October.
That's when it's normally scheduled, right?
The normally scheduled meeting is the first Wednesday of every month. This
Okay,
is,
because I'm going to Yellowstone and I really want to go to Yellowstone.
We want to go with.
We want you to go to Yellowstone.
I do
I'd like
too. I wanna get out
to make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
second.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.
Don't drive a Volkswagen up here though, that's one the bears get.
Oh, I've never been there.
They figured out how to get into it.
I've never been there, so. Ben, I'll sign there. Thank you, Alan.
Yeah, good job. Way to move things along, Janet.
Yeah,
Glad you're feeling better, finally. Looks like you're doing all right.
yeah.
What do you got
I'm out of the corset. I've been in the corset, 110 degrees. But I can't carry my purse because my gun's too big. So, I'm on our right.
Hey, were you at Okay.
Lee, your wife wants Steve.
Yes.
Yes? Okay. Do I have your, write down your number? Oh, right. And I'll call, what's your wife's first name?
Diane.
Diane, okay, because I have some coming out right now.
Just call me and I'll let her know. I mean, he was gonna come down last week and get some.
Well, you should come down, you should come down. Yeah, just tell her to come over. I should give you my phone. You don't have.
Cindy took care of all that.
Yeah, just tell her to give me a call. And if I don't answer the phone, leave a message and I'll call her back. And her first name again is
Diane.
Diane.
You get it on that number, but I'll just give her a call.
Okay, tell her to give me a call because I'm going tomorrow. And I'm home tomorrow.
No, we didn't, this, what we're doing it is just digging. Yeah.
I was trying to say, because I told Marty.
Well, it's honestly, I mean,
Okay, I didn't know this is such a heated, nasty subject.
But the way